Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Chess, and today we'll discuss something, right? If you read the title already, it's probably gonna make you question, right? What do I mean about that, right? How can Earth become flat? Is this like one of those flat earthers theory? Well, not really. No, obviously not. I personally believe that the Earth is round. Not really believe, but more like I can see how the Earth is, round, right? But in this specific discussion, we'll talk about how Earth can actually be flat if if you see it from this POV or this point of view, basically. For starters, kinda want to inform if you haven't known already, I was graduated from chemical engineering, right? And we studied a lot of things, and one of those things is about heat transfer, right? And heat transfer is basically like you transfer the heat from one liquid body, or not only liquid but more like fluid, not even fluid but also solid. But the point is, you transfer heat from one body into another body, right? It can be again fluid or solid or whatever, right? Basically it's changing heat. So if you have a um, cold current, and then there is a hot current, they will swap, they will transfer their heat, right? This one, the heat is the highest, right? And when it comes out of this, like in this side, it will be less hot, basically. The same true is for this one as well. The cold one, the cold current, at the start it is very cold, right? Or theoretically cold. And when it comes out, and then it becomes a little bit warm, right? Not as cold as the first it met. So here we have the heat transfer, basically, right? um, Although, yeah, the heat transfer is from the warm to the cold, but in this case we kind of transfer heat as well, right? These things, this hot one become a little bit warm, right, because of the cold. And yeah, not really because of the cold, but more like because of the heat leaving it, right? Therefore it's not as hot as it was. But anyway, why do I explain this? What is the connection between this and the Earth? Well, you know, excuse me, can hold that. So heat transfer can occur in certain, it occurred because of the conduction, right, or the convection. But here we'll talk about the conduction, all right? Well, it can also become confession, but whatever. The point is that heat will basically move from one place to another, right? And then the farther it went through, the less warm that it has, right? Because it travels a lot. It kind of basically like there is some kind of gradient, right? Like temperature gradients, right? The closest to this side over here will be the hottest, or the warmest. The hot one, as it leaves this hot body over here, the temperature drops for each of these distance, right? And in this case the distance is dx or dz, right? Basically like differential of x or differential of distance. It means that in its increment of distance, the temperature will shrink, right? you know, what about it? Well, usually in industry, we will have like one of them will be a tube or a rod, basically in your conventional heat exchanger, right? It is on tube. So you know, it is, yeah, this is circular basically, right? And you probably already know where this is going, right? If you already know engineering a little bit. So yeah, and basically having heat exchanger, like the name, exchanging heat, it will transfer heat through its radial position, right? Incrementally, right? And if we take a look closer, take a part of that increment, of that circular thing, it looks like this, right? This is supposed to be round, right? Because it's a pipe basically, and then the heat will goes like so, right? But the thing is that if we want to know the detail of that, we need to take smaller cut, or incremental cut. Basically cut this pipe into thinner. And if you have this part over here, and then we zoom out again, um, you know, it becomes like this, right? It becomes like this, and then you keep getting the increment, basically like the smallest excuse me again, the increment of that, you pick that again, and then you zoom in again, and eventually you will have, this will eventually become flat, right? Because you take a look at a very increment, very small part of the whole round pipe, right? If you take that increment like more, then you will have this, basically like this cut over here. So this flat part over here is technically a part of the roundness of the pipe that got zoomed in, right? And here we can start working, right? Basically this is like flat, and in engineering stuff, this get assumption, it becomes a slab. So thing that we have the round thing, the round pipe, we assume this as a slab, basically like a hard slab that will emit warm or hot, or hot fluid, right? Heat, I mean. And yeah, and because of this, the first time I learned about this, then I realized that it basically looks like this, right? And then there will be gradient. This one is the hottest, and then this one will be less hot, and then less hot, lesser until it becomes the temperature of the other body, right? So there is like a temperature gradient basically. And the first time I learned about this, I just suddenly realized then, well, how, we talking about a pipe, a round pipe, and then we talk about increment, and then we got ourselves a slab, a flat surface. It was supposed to be round, right? And then I took that analogy into the earth, um, into the earth, and I suddenly realized that, yeah, if we look at something very small, then we can only see the flat surface, right? It, it kind of like illusion or something like that. I don't know, but more like technically, right? If you zoom something, then you will see the flat surface, even though it's flat. So there's that. And funny enough, it actually happened with us, compared to the earth, right? When I draw things like this is not in comparison, right? If this is earth, then human will be very tiny, right? Not even as big as this dot over here, but even tinier. And this is like a false comparison. Then yeah, I figured myself, I see myself as being in that incremental section of Earth. Therefore, I see Earth as flat, and that's why Earth is flat. If you take a look at this POV, then yes, it's true because you're so small and Earth is so big, and you cannot really tell the difference, right? Unless you are like celestial being, from Marvel, which you're technically as big as the planet itself, then you can see that the Earth is round. But since we are human, we are so tiny, and we only occupy this tiny space that we can as then called as incremental section of the Earth, and therefore, because we zoom in the Earth, like zoomed enough, therefore we see the Earth as a flat surface, right? But it doesn't act, obviously it doesn't render, it doesn't render the fact that Earth is not round. Earth is still round, right? Because of other stuff that proves Earth is round, right? So yeah, it's like a POV, basically like point of view. Yes, Earth is flat based on this specific point of view. If you take a look at human, not at human, if you take a look at Earth as human size, then yes, Earth is flat because you're too small and Earth is too big. And then we compare that to, what I learned in engineering as well, right? It's supposed to be a round pipe because we zoom in to get the incremental area. Therefore, we consider this as a slab, as a flat surface. But yeah, that's about it. Um, and yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know down if you got kind of clickbaited. If not, I mean it's not really clickbait, but it's true if see it from other perspective basically. So yeah, like just like an ant in like in soccer ball, like the soccer ball, the end is too small, right? Then they consider that as flat surface. When they walk towards the edge, they don't really um they don't really fall, right? Because they stuck their feet into the ball. So they just think that it is flat surface, although it's not, right? It's kind of same as that as well, but yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you again tomorrow with another discussion. Stay safe, stay healthy, eat healthy, drink healthy, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I will see you again tomorrow with another discussion, and see ya.